going on right now.
It's cool. I'm just sitting here. I'll be looking at you. Let me see if I can do it. Hey, bro. So you're gonna it'll be from the Growl page or
Yes.
which page?
Growl page.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Oh, rad. Okay, so you're live now. Okay. So I should be able to share this, right?
Should.
Unless you tag me.
No,
Just gonna share it.
yeah, you can share it right now, actually. That's a good idea. Let's do some social media while we're social mediating. There it is, live.
All right, let's see. Hold on. Share.
There, I just tagged you too.
Technology. Okay, cool. Did a tag. Sure.
There you go. Yay! We all like each other's stuff.
Yeah. It's very incestuous.
It.
Very. Let me see if I can share this. Okay. My browser's just being completely slow right now for no reason.
Of course now, right?
Of course, dude. I mean, everything's kind of wacky right now, isn't it?
Unfortunately. So it might as well be everything. So what's going on there? Sacrificial Slaughter, are you a big fan of those guys?
Yeah, actually, funny story. I knew Steve Worley, good buddies with him, and actually, probably like 2 years ago or something like that, we they made the guitar player, and I lived nearby, and yeah, they hit me up, man, and I went over and kind of like actually, I learned a couple of their songs, man, and here, let me just tag post for you tag. But yeah, I went over and jammed with them, and basically they were getting ready for a tour. They needed a guy real bad. I was like, I'm all in, because I really dig their stuff. And they ended up getting their guitar player. He didn't leave. He was going to leave the band, but he ended up not leaving the band, so he just stayed or whatever. And then that was it. But it was cool, you know what I mean? So I became good friends with the guys and stuff. And then actually, as Steve was auditioning for the new Eternal Bleeding position that he's in, I helped him out with a video. He needed to do a sing-along, playthrough video. So I had him over here to my studio. We set him up with a mic and a camera and all, and just said, "Oh, you guys, you got the gig, man." So
Sweet.
really, really cool. Yeah. sent me this shirt last week, so I thought I'd show some support, man.
And those guys are from the West Coast, right?
Yeah, the rest of the band's still out here in, near LA. SoCal.
Killer. Okay, well, might as well get started.
Sure, man. I mean, I was just saying, to finish answering your question, Steve's relocated, though, actually more towards the East Coast, but for whatever that's worth. I think he's in Tennessee now, closer to the band. There you go. If you follow him on Facebook, you see him, man. He's out there fishing and stuff, so
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the rest of the band or what. George, bass player, and all them guys, they're still out here, so I seen them at the, beer and metal festival a little while back, but cool. So what's going on?
I don't know, man. We're kind of hanging out here, kind of, talking it up with some people because we're all kind of bored and we're all, kind of stuck.
Yeah, man. We're all, everyone's in social isolation and just quarantine and, playing riffs. Hopefully death metal blast beats, growls.
Well, that's why we're chatting with you here. So who are you? And let's get a little history on here. But first, who are you?
Cool. So I'm Kelly Mclauchlin, and played in a bunch of death metal bands around the world, or at least in this country for a while. But where would I begin? I mean, I have a bunch of bands I played in that you might have heard of. I mean, basically I'm known as, I'm a founding member and the guitar player for the band called Pessimist. We started in 1993, so we had a few records out in the underground, been going at it hard for a while. And, but I played in a bunch of other bands like Possessed and Angel Corpse, toured with them for a minute, and who else? Let's see, Diabolic, played a band called Unholy Ghost. I've done a bunch of session work with other bands like Horror of Horrors.
I was gonna bring that up. Well, that's a band right there. I noticed you you were in the band for a while.
Sorry.
That's okay, man. Yeah. We got a riff. We got a riff, right?
Yeah.
But you were in Horror of Horrors, or that was your band, or what?
So, no, Horror of Horrors was not my band, but I was actually in the band a couple of different times. Filled in with them live around '96, and we played actually 2 shows up in Baltimore, and I was just filling in for one of the guitar players. And that was actually right before, this is actually cool, a really interesting story, so you'll take this, Cam. But around that same time, so the drummer from Horror of Horrors is Antar Coates, right? So Antar had this idea, one day I'm over there for Horror of Horrors rehearsal, learning the songs, and he goes, hey, I've got this idea for this band Diabolic. And he had this 4-track recording, and if you look it up, it's actually the very first unreleased Diabolic demo in 1996. No one had ever heard it because it was unreleased before people even think the band formed. But it was basically blast beats and these really distorted, blown out keyboards, which was the riffs. And I played a bunch of solos over it and stuff. And if you go, if you look it up, it's pretty sure it's still out there on YouTube and stuff like that. And that was before Diabolic even happened. So, I've got some roots, man.
Cool.
Back in the day. Yeah. And then, many years later, I ended up recording solos for them. I think it was 2008. And I did some solos for them at Eric Rutan's studio, Mana Studios, in St. Pete in Florida. And for a thing that was called, whatever it's called, it's the greatest hits or whatever, the Blood Fangs at Balance or something, the greatest. It's out on, I think it's on Hammerheart, actually, one of the record labels, but go look it up. And Kevin Talley played drums on that, and they just flew me in to play solos, so it was more of a project than anything, but very cool, running in those kind of circles. And for a death metal band that, a lot of people, even me, really respect for a lot of years, that came up from the early, old school East Coast death metal scene.
So what was it like growing up in the East Coast death metal scene then? Let's go there.
Growing up in the East Coast death metal, it was non-existent. There was no such thing, man. It didn't. I mean, so I'd be dating myself here, but by the time I was first started playing in bands, the only stuff that was out back then was, Master of Puppets and Rain and Blood and, all the Metallica stuff, Rise of Lightning and, SOD and all the other cool shit that we were growing up on, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and everything, And it wasn't until I moved to California around 88 or 89, and that's, right then was kind of when, right after that was when I first heard Carcass, Symphonies of Sickness, and, but before that I was on to everything else, man. Devastation and Dark Angel and Possession. Just I always liked the really evilest, the darkest kind of thrash death metal band. So, you know what I mean?
So that prompted you to obviously dig deeper into the heavy scene once you heard that Carcass was your first introduction, you're saying?
Well, I mean, to me, Carcass it was Carcass and really Morbid Angel that broke the seal for death metal for me. For, basically when the earache bands dropped was the first time. They kind of all hit at once. Entombed,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. Prior to that, I was some other thrash bands I didn't even mention, like Destruction, Creator, and I was just heavily into that stuff.
Yeah.
And Dark Possessed, bands like that, what I said, until suddenly there was death metal. And I think to me, the first real death metal band that I heard, well, I mean, it kind of happened all at once, but it was Carcass and it was Morbid Angel. It was more, there you go, the Grind Crusher compilation. I have that, bro.
Yeah.
Of course. It's legendary. It's like
that
100 tracks or something.
That's it.
Tracks.
Everything.
It had Long Path and Fudge Tunnel and everything on
Terrorizer, obviously. Naked City, Filthy Christians, Old Lady Drivers, Intense Degree, Napalm, Sore Throat. Like, just, there's too much.
Yeah.
So, you go to the West.
Yeah. The streams. Anyone tuned in here? What's going on?
Oh yeah, we got a few watchers right now.
Okay, let's see. A couple people tuned in. All right, we got a second. Let me just check on things real quick, man.
You got it, dude. But yeah, Grind Crusher. That's pretty much the album. That changed it for a lot of people. This was it. Good old earache. Earache Records. I didn't do that. It didn't follow us, so that's okay. So anyways, chill for all the chords everywhere. So we're chatting with Kelly right now. He's just, it's like 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock? I think it's 5 o'clock now over down there or whatever. So he's still, doing his day by days. But yeah, we're hanging out, chatting up some old school stuff. And he's got some cool stories, obviously, because he's playing in AM Morbid. Still in the car. Oh yeah. I don't have a tape player in my car anymore. Last car I had with a tape player was 3 cars ago. So that was like 6 years ago. Super cool. Oh, he's back. Let's turn this up here.
Yo, I'm back.
Hey, there he is. That's it, eh? We're just hanging out here. Just hanging out. So
what's going on in the... Talk to me.
Talk to you. What's going on? Well, you know, just hanging out down here at St. Catharines. It's 8 o'clock it's 8 o'clock at night in the morning. At night right now. And we're pretty much, I don't know, just wanting to hang out and see what you guys are doing. Because everyone's just sitting back, right? Everyone's just chilling, and you know, we're seeing a lot of creative people hanging out and doing their things all over, live feeding what they can, drums, guitars, singing, dancing, like everything, right? So, what's that? Cheers, King Diamond.
That's right. King Diamond beer could be there.
Oh boy. Cheers, everybody. So you had Diabolic going for a while. How many albums you guys put out?
So, I've only ever actually played on one Diabolic record. So that was so back to the story I was telling earlier. That's before there was Diabolic. That was never released. That was still in Maryland. And like maybe 2 weeks after that, Antar moved. Antar, the drummer, it was his band, his project. He moved to Florida. And then like a year later, you heard about Diabolic coming out. So they had, guitar player, a full band, and, they had the City of the Dead demo, which fucking destroyed. Everyone loved it. The best, death metal demo of all time, some people say. But next to death metal, right?
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But at that point, I had nothing to do with the band, and, at that time, you know what I mean? It was just an early incarnation, and they went on and put out a few more albums. At that time, I was still in Maryland and still playing. I was still doing Pessimist, is what happened. And so I was still in Maryland and still doing Pessimist, and we did 3 records. By the time we did Slaughtering the Faithful, after that, at some point, is when I moved to Florida, and then later rejoined Diabolic. So that's, the whole scene is kind of intertwined, a bunch of the same dudes all jamming together in various incarnations of the band. So what happened is then I moved to Florida, and at that point there was a fight over the name Diabolic. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Cam, but
I've heard things, yeah.
Yeah, shall I elaborate? I mean, we got time.
Go nuts, yeah, totally do.
And this Brian Malone, the other guitar player, went, and there was a battle over the name. He wanted the name. They ended up doing a new record that was Diabolic, but it didn't sound like Diabolic. It was just Brian and a bunch of other cats. And like, for example, Antar was not even in the band anymore. So me and Antar and some other cats who were also ex-Diabolic, we ended up doing a record and forming a new band called Unholy Ghost, which many people said sounded more like Diabolic than the new Diabolic did. So at that point, it was me, Antar, Paul, and Jerry. And again, all the same dudes ended up jamming in various incarnations of the band. To this day, it's kind of still going.
Yeah. Right on. So, Pessimist has pretty much been your full-time band.
Yeah, so Pessimist was my full-time band. And it was kind of my exclusive band for many years. And then, until I started kind of like band whoring out, and jamming with, like I said, those guys, Diabolic, and, later on I ended up jamming in a bunch of bands. So I kind of went the other extreme from just being solely in one band. And it was, in a way with the detriment, it came at a cost. I put my own project on the sidelines for a lot of years. Pessimist was kind of, on blocks while I was busy in these other bands for many years, and then at some point I ended up parting ways with Diabolic, and next thing you know, I auditioned for Possessed, and then I got that gig. Yeah.
Right on.
I mean, and 2 weeks later, we're playing Hellfest in France, opening for Kiss and Black Sabbath, and,
Wow. That must have been an eye-opener, eh?
It was. Yeah, real cool times.
Jesus, very cool. And so, when was the last Pessimist record?
So last Pessimist, actual record was, 20 years ago, man. It's 20 years ago.
Wow.
2002 Faithful, 18 years ago. We did a kind of a compilation record after that, and in 2008 they had some demos and some live cuts and some tribute songs on there we had done for 12 Records, and we kind of put it on a compilation. That was in 2008. So if you call it, that was an actual studio record, but that was our last release in 2008.
Yeah, but you guys were still doing stuff though.
Well, we had reformed at that. We did another European tour. So we had toured Europe twice. In '99, we went again in 2009 and did a string of East Coast shows. And at that point, we had Kelly Conlon, the bass player from Death, in the band, and some other cats, the original lineup.
God damn.
So yeah, it's been a while.
So this takes us to now, and you playing with a certain individual, playing certain individual songs with this certain individual.
Yeah.
So
wow, right?
Right. So how did that come about?
I mean, if you're speaking of the same individual as I am, so it's interesting, man. I mean, death metal, it's tight knit, it's a close knit community, and some years ago, I mean, it's been, you want to hear the long version, it's we can go way back, but some years ago, Pessimist had ended up scoring an opening gig with Morbid Angel up in Rochester, New York, at Penny Lane, I believe the place called. That's
Penny Arcade. Penny Arcade.
Penny Arcade, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, Oliver. Penny Arcade, that's it. And had met Eric Rutan again, which I already knew him. There was actually, I want to go back a little bit before that. I had played, in Pessimist, had played a festival in Texas called November to Dismember. I don't know if you remember that. It was actually the second one. There was two of them. It was the first and second. There was one in LA and one in Texas. We played them both. And we played the Relapse stage. I got off the stage and actually got scouted by Steve Tucker. At that time, he came up and said, "Hey, we're interested in the band, this and that." I didn't get the spot at that time, but as a result, I had met, or got in contact with Eric Rutan. So we ended up playing, with Morbid Angel up at that show there. Eric goes, "What's going on with the band?" I go, "Hey, we're recording a new record. Hey, why don't you come to Tampa, Florida, and record with me?" Next thing you know, we're recording with Eric Rutan. So, a bunch of other stuff happened as a result of that. But even later, I actually did end up auditioning for Morbid Angel, and that's when David Vincent had called me. And that was in around, again, 2008. I just come off the Angel Corpse tour, and went down and actually played like a full set with the band, which, that in itself is, dreams come true, right? Playing a full set, 12 songs off Morbid Angel, or Ultra's Madness, Blessing of the Sick, with the full lineup, I played with Trey, with Dave Vincent, and with Pete Commando.
Oh.
So, and did real good, but that's, I placed in like the top 5 or 6 guys, and it's at that time they actually went with Destructor, right? Thor. So to give you some point of reference of the time frame. Anyways, as a result of all this, I ended up becoming friends with the guys, and I don't know if you know, I ride a motorcycle. I get a badass chopper, a big dog. It's called Mastiff, and so did Dave. He actually still rides. He still has the same bike, but and another bike. But we both had big dogs, and we go out to Quaker Steak and Lube. We went on the Ride for Dime from Dean Guitars, Ride for Dime. Where Chopper's out, and we became great friends. So we just always stayed in touch and that kind of thing. And and then like a year ago, I'm just hanging out. I just come off the Hyrax tour, playing in South America with these guys. I was feeling on beat, and all of a sudden, the phone rang, and Dave hit me up on Messenger and like, "Hey, buddy, we're doing a tour and need a guitar player," and it was like, "You got 3 weeks, like, we get the songs down, let's go do it." So it's kind of how it happened.
Wow. So how's that been going then? I'm assuming it's going pretty darn good. Pretty darn good.
Dave's classy. The whole band is classy. You know what I mean? I like the way things are going. I'm very fucking happy with it. some of the other gigs I played. This is a nice, it's a nice kind of end game.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Well, and you're playing some of the probably your favorite tunes also.
Oh, for sure, man. And yeah, I mean, what else can you say about that? The songs are great. Every night is a dream come true. It's been really amazing. So the fans love it. The fans are the best. That's really, what it's all about. So it's been great, man.
What's your favorite tune to play with that?
I'd have to say Eyes to See, Ears to Hear. That's just one of my favorites. But as far as playing live, my favorite song to play live, Where the Slime Live, just because it's fun and it's a hit. It's got these big hooks and it's very memorable and very catchy, and I love it, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Seriously. Come on, right? Oh my gosh. What was the hardest tune to probably figure out?
To figure out. So that, to figure out, let's see. What was the hardest tune? Let me see. I mean, I don't know. For me, the old stuff was easier. It was kind of the newer stuff, which Sworn to Black was pretty tricky. I'm going to be honest with you there. I mean, it has a real tricky tapping riff in the middle of the song. When playing Morbid Angel songs is, it's not rocket science, but it's not easy, dude.
Right.
It's, these, Trey, the guys who wrote the music are known for these, their guitar gymnastics and, trickery. So it's very cool and fun stuff to play, you know what I mean? And I kind of already had a background with that, playing Possessed songs. You know what I mean? A lot of that's in the same vein. They're doing little, guitar tricks and gymnastics and little noodly things in between the riffs. And, Morbid Angel, it's probably not far from that.
Right. And it stems just from that old school sound, right? Where it's not overly noodly and it's more straightforward, right?
It's a mix of both, man. Yeah, some of the riffs are more basic, some of them are more technical. I think in the, speaking for Morbid Angel here, their later releases became more of like an atmosphere, I guess, which is not to take from the early releases, which also had an atmosphere. I mean,
yeah.
So the wood for that was, more of a big aura and production and less detailed.
For sure.
I can't take away from any of that, Those records are kind of sacred to me, so, I mean...
I think they are to pretty much the majority, everybody watching and hanging out here right now. I mean, if it wasn't for altars and stuff like that, right? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, they're just majestic. They get better and better.
Literally, they do. So you've been obviously riffing yourself, just hanging out. What are you working on some new stuff? Got some projects going on?
Yeah, actually. So I've started writing some new stuff, man, and we're downloading some riffs as a band, actually. Everything filtered through David naturally. He's the kind of the ship captain, right, stays the course this way. But yeah, we're, developing riffs and developing song ideas. And I know that there's a lot more ahead of where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I Am Morbid's going to be making new songs?
Yeah, that's the idea right now. That's exactly what, and as long as no one's out there touring at the moment, then, there's downtime. At least speaking for myself, where I can start tracking stuff and sending it to the guys, and man, so far everyone's digging it, and it seems like a perfect time to work on a new record, get a new album out, and get some things together before hopefully this whole shindig turns around, and we get out there and play some live shows again, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Because you're either gonna have a shit ton of new good bands coming out, or there's gonna be a lot of babies in December, right?
Definitely going to be a lot of babies in December, and that's for sure. Nothing else is guaranteed.
Right. So, can you show any riffs or anything that you guys are working on, or is everything pretty hush hush?
I hadn't really planned on going into that today. I could cue something up, but I think it's better to just keep it in the pocket. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I can tell you that Morbid Angel bands and David Vincent bands are going to be pleased. You know what I mean, with the direction it's headed. So that's a great thing.
I like that. I like that idea. That's great. Are you digging his other band, the Vlitmus?
Ultimus, yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Vlitmus, yeah.
Watch. Yeah, it's the metal V Ultimus.
Okay.
But and David's got a new book out on it. Yeah. Metal Snuddy. Did you ever watch The Young Ones? You know who Vivian is, the punk rocker with the stars on his.
Oh,
The Young Ones, Vivian.
That's that UK show, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It was a BBC thing. There was one of the episodes had Motorhead on there. It was classic. It's great.
Right on. So, have you been coming up with your own riffs, just on your own stuff?
Well, yeah, man. And the way I'm writing this, when I write riffs, it's truly from the heart. And this is funny, but the way I'm writing, it's almost as if I'm writing for Pessimist, which is my own band, it's my own creation from my heart. And at the same time, the music is, it's not far off from. Actually, it's perfect for like where I Am Morbid is, could be headed. So there's that. As I write riffs, it's perfect for this band, and that's, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes with it, And, and anything that's, at the same time, I'm also writing for Pessimist, so I also have that going. I have to prioritize, of course. But,
obviously.
I feel like, as long as I'm writing music that's true, it's in my blood, then, I'll find a venue for that and an outlet for it with the bands.
Well, music is life, right? We can't just stop doing it.
No, or we would have stopped a long time ago.
Those are the ones that grew up. We didn't grow up. That's the other thing too, right?
You know the ones, usually you see them at the bar and they go, I used to have long hair, or I used to play in a band, and
yep.
Okay, that's cool, good for you, man. But for me, it's my life.
But then a lot of them too, when they do go back and say, "Oh man, I remember when we were cranked heavy metal all the time. We used to jam and stuff. Those were like some of the best times in my life." And it's like, well, then why did you stop doing it if they were the best times of your life, right? Doesn't make sense.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, and what do they tell you? Is they probably they get a job, they they have a kid, who knows? That's but that's I don't have to worry about that. That's their kid, that's their life, not my problem. So.
So why don't you jam us some new pessimist riffs or something?
So, I don't have anything planned. Can you hear that okay? How's it sound over there?
Yeah, that worked. I was jamming too.
Yeah. Well, cool.
That's great.
I just sit here and rip.
Yeah, literally, right?
Yeah. Well, let me get some drums up here. And, we'll do a thing. It could be a thing,
Oh, yeah, you could live stream. Well, no, the problem is with the live streaming, there's so much lag. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Shit. That'd be a cool idea, though, live jam like that.
Yeah, we totally can do it.
Yeah, totally. So what have you been listening to lately?
Man, all I ever listen to, it seems like I'm just stuck in the 80s, man. I'm always jamming out to old school heavy metal. It's not my fault. I love King Diamond. It's, I don't know, what the fuck else do I play, man? A lot of King Diamond. I love Merciful Fate. I love, like Lizzie Borden and like really metal kind of stuff. That's when I'm just chilling, man. That's when I'm hanging out by myself. But it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm really into I want to hear some Fear Factory. Sometimes I'm really into, some Suffocation. But usually, usually I'm just kind of stuck in the 80s, man, listening to 80s metal kind of stuff.
Those are the good times, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as far as new stuff coming out, I don't know, I'd have to think if there's anything that's really grabbed my attention lately. But, what about you, man? I know you must check out all kinds of death metal.
Oh my gosh,
stuff,
dude.
right?
Well, lately, I don't know if you know, you ever hear of Ruin?
I've seen the logo. I've seen the band, but no, I haven't heard them.
Yeah. Oh, well, stuff's dropping everywhere. Yeah, it features Mike Abominator that he used to play in Gravehill.
Oh, I know Great Bill, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he was the old singer that would douse himself in blood all the time. So that's his new band, Ruin.
Okay.
And they did a split with VHS or whatever, and they're from actually Thunder Bay, Canada. So that's pretty cool. What else we got here? We got some of that there.
Death Thrash.
Oh yeah.
Am I right?
Ah fuck. They're one of the originators. Let's see.
A little more metal than giving them too much credit. Master, of course.
Fucking
Signed.
right, yeah.
Paul.
Oh, Paul's the best, man. He is such a rad dude. Unbelievable. We got to see him twice. Our buddy Brian Pattison over in Buffalo. He's the one who did the Glorious Times book. He ended up booking Master over in New York. Club Infinity. It was. I believe it was Club Infinity. And Master came down, and Alex Books, who's in Immolation, was on guitar with them at the time. And then just recently,
Yeah.
they came around to Buffalo, I think just before Christmas. And yeah, we got to see them. We got to see Paul again, and the new members now, which are killing it. Like, they're killing it. So hats off to Master and everything, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know those guys, man. They're great.
Totally.
Yeah,
So,
Rustin, Growl,
yes, and Pat.
Those guys are my bro. So yeah, no, they're great, dude. So I actually jammed with Pat. Like, it's funny, right before I got the I Am Morbid gig, and right before he got the Master gig, me and him jammed together in his studio in Long Beach. I went down there. He was on drums. He's playing drums, and he was gonna play for Pessimist. We'll see how that goes. All of a sudden, I was going out on tour, and he was going out on tour, and they've been very busy with Master.
Yep.
So, all of a sudden, so yeah, actually hit me up to jam. So
Right on, right on. See, it's a small world in the death metal community, eh?
It is, bro.
Totally. We got any last words? Any last riffs? Anything before we sign off here and hang out with Kelly here?
Yeah, this is fun, man. I mean, there you go. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kenny, man. And thanks for having me, dude. And
Hey man, it's a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out, dude. I mean, it's nice to finally connect. To this degree, but hopefully a little more in the future.
Yeah. For sure, man. And everyone out there, you guys just stay safe, man. And just self-quarantine. Wash your freaking hands, man. I mean, just don't even, just stay safe. Everybody stay healthy, man. Stay clean. We'll see you, bro.
That's it. All right, man. Take it easy. Right on, guys. Let's see here.